This is pretty cool. This is Mega Man Powered Up and Mega Man Maverick Hunter, a dual collection set that I got. And of course I bought this from GameStop, but I think this is just an actual game. I don't think it was like any type of Xbox exclusive or nothing like that. Where do I go into this? This is both Part 1s remade. So this is Mega Man 1 remade in a super cutesy art style, but it's amazing. They added 2 extra robot bosses, and if you defeat them in specific circumstances, you get to use them. Not just get their power for Mega Man, but if you beat, say, Cutman in a specific way, you would unlock him, and you could use Cutman throughout the game as your actual guy that's going to go save the world. Now, you could also make your own Mega Man levels, so that was pretty sweet. And there was a Dark Mega Man that was included in the game, so if you weren't playing as Mega Man, if you picked Fireman or something like that, there was an evil Mega Man that you got to see reprogrammed by Wily that you had to fight, so that was really sweet. The next game is Mega Man Maverick Hunter X, and that's a remake of Mega Man X1, and all the armor is in different spots. The levels are still there, but they're like a 2.5D. Everything's in 3D, but you still move the same way that you used to, and it looks beautiful. It's a lot of fun to play. It's still basically the same game, but since they changed the location of armor and weapons and whatnot, it's a little more difficult, like, to just run into it and run through. You have to go look for that stuff again, which was cool for me because I got that experience back. That, where is it? Where is it? I need it. So that had been gone for me because I'd beat the other one so many times, and then this came out like that. And when you beat it, you get a chance to go through the entire game from Vile's perspective. You get to be Vile and see pretty much why he's such a douche. And the other thing that was pretty cool about it was when you beat the whole game, you get the anime, which is a 30-minute short where you get to see what led up to the start of Mega Man X. Highly recommended, both games. Marvel Ultimate Alliance. I only have Part 1 because Part 2 was terrible, but Part 1 is very enjoyable. It has a couple modes that you didn't get in Marvel Ultimate Alliance, and on top of that, it also has some pretty fun elements to it, like some extra characters that we also were only exclusive to this, so that's pretty cool. Like, I believe Hawkeye's one of them. One of the coolest things about it is there's a hero mode where you go through the game on whatever difficulty setting you want, but say like Captain America, your Captain America dies, it deletes him off the game. You no longer have access to him. He's dead. So you gotta actually manage your guys and choose guys for specific situations. Like if you know you're going in to fight a certain guy and you need to slow down time or whatever because he's got this crazy ridiculous attack, then you're gonna want Spider-Man's Spider Sense. Where on the other hand, if you're going into a guy that does major damage, you might want Spider-Woman because she can do the heal team thing. So it's pretty sweet. It's still fun. The whole take it with you thing really worked for this, and I'm a big fan of Marvel Ultimate Alliance anyway. So there's that. Final Fantasy VII Crisis Core is one of the greatest gaming experiences I ever had in the Final Fantasy universe. That's saying a lot, and it's not an exaggeration. It was kind of like a more you control Tales of type of battle system, but not exactly either. It was kind of like its own hack and slash feeling, and it was great to play as Zack and see what led up to the whole Midgar being the way that it is, and not just that, but what exactly really happened in Nibelheim. I believe I said that right. If I didn't, I'm sorry. It was great, and what was really great about it is it looked so unbelievable. Like, I cannot believe that this has not been ported to the PS2 or an HD for the PS3. I really cannot believe it. If God of War got that HD treatment, and all these other games are getting the HD treatment, this deserves it. This needs it. Please, please, HD remake. Just this game alone. Or you know what? Give me the Final Fantasy Fantasy Hardcore Collection. It could come with Final Fantasy 1, and still, I don't care if it's just the reprint of the PS1 discs, it'll still work on the PSP, so, PS3, so get that for me, and then give me, say, a download voucher or an enhanced HD version of the Dirge of Cerberus, and then this also, and give all that to me on a single Blu-ray disc or something, and I will be ecstatic. You don't even have to upscale Final Fantasy VII. If you guys just want to give it to me on the Blu-ray disc so I can play it without switching discs, look, I'm into that. I'd pay for it. This needs to be ported to the console. Everybody needs to be able to play this. Super Street Fighter 2. In the arcade, Super Street Fighter quite literally rebuilt the arcade market by itself. Hands down, one of the most important fighting games that shaped the franchise, and you could play it at home. That was a huge deal back then, a huge deal, and even though it wasn't that good of a game, we played it. We played it for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. We loved some Super Street Fighter 2, and even today, I still love some Super Street Fighter 2. And Street Fighter 2. I'm kind of getting into a debate here that I'm not going to start because, like I said, I like to kind of move through this episode. But when it came to this, there were a lot of games that were released, like Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 2 Turbo, all this stuff, and they just kept coming out with versions, and you would have to be a huge hardcore fan to notice the difference between one version and another version, and we're just not going to get into it here, but I have them. Turtles in Time! Let's get this out of the way right now. Turtles in Time has nothing to do with the third movie. The third movie was not Turtles in Time until the Blu-ray came out, and they redid the intro to say Turtles in Time. If you have a VHS or an original copy, like a theater presentation, original DVD, it was not Turtles in Time. That movie was terrible. It has nothing to do with quite possibly the greatest beat-em-up game ever made, period. And when it became reshelled, it was not as good as this. Believe it or not, that's true. So anybody that didn't get to play the original and you only played the reshelled, you guys missed out. There are a couple bosses and a couple levels on this that didn't make it into the remake, and you owe yourself finding this and playing it. However, this game cost $50 easy. It's not cheap. My advice to you is only if you really want it. But I gotta say, you do really want it. The other thing I'll tell you, there are always emulators. Am I endorsing emulators? No. But technically, every single one of these sites claims that as long as you play the game only for, say, 24 hours and then delete it, it's perfectly legal. Now, when I was young, I used to have a lot of emulators, and I used to do this a lot. I would download like whole libraries and just play the crap out of Super Nintendo games. But that actually led to me being a collector because I wanted to be able to play it on the Super with my controller. Even though you can play these games on your computer, there's an experience that's somehow lost when you don't have the game physically in front of you. Super Mario Kart! Super Mario Kart, hands down, one of the best racing games they've ever made, period, on any system ever. Amazing game, amazing game, amazing game. Play that game. Killer Instinct. Killer Instinct was amazing. Looked amazing. Played amazing. Combos. Wicked, wicked combos. And if it wasn't enough, if it wasn't already sweet, right? There's something else this game did. Came with a soundtrack. That's right, the music on this thing was so good. The games came with a soundtrack and even like collector cards for every character. And just to stand out from the rest of the herd, black. Look, even Zelda came in your standard gray case. This thing is a classic from the case to the game. Mortal Kombat 2. My feelings on Mortal Kombat aside, this single-handedly changed games as we know them today. I mean, think about it. The ESRB, the game rating systems that came out, this pushed the forefront. This is what caused it. Mortal Kombat 1 kind of got that little like, ooh, you better do something. But by the time Mortal Kombat 2 came out, that rating system needed to be in place. People were freaking out about this game. And as you could tell, there's no rating. They was just like, Mortal Kombat 2, check it out. And when people checked it out, they freaked out. There was blood and super attacks and crazy like people hanging from trees and all kinds of wild stuff like Hadoom into the acid, and like you could throw them off and they fall into spikes. Like this desensitized my generation, okay? And it started with this. Mortal Kombat, the picking screen music. You haven't heard it, go check it out. It's fucking beating of Samurai Showdown. Samurai Showdown is one of the very few games on the Super that, well, in that generation, that was actually able to hold its own against Street Fighter. Street Fighter had a stranglehold on the market, and this came out, and it was kind of, if I have to say, I'd tell you it's the predecessor to what gave us Soul Calibur. Samurai Showdown. It's on the marketplace, okay? Mortal Kombat 3. Mortal Kombat 3, by the time it came out, if you'll notice, had to be rated. It's going back to what I said about Mortal Kombat 2. These games helped desensitize my generation and guarantee that the movies and even the kids shows on TV were guaranteed to have a little more oomph in their ability to shock and awe us.